Hi everyone. In this recording we are going to have a look at software that might be available on a HPC cluster and that you can use. The majority of HPC facilities will provide available software through what we call a module system, and so you can use these modules to load all relevant software and dependencies, so that you can use the software in one go without actually having to install anything yourself. So how does it work? So we are on a cluster right now, and one of the main commands to use is module, and then to find out which modules or software modules are available, you type avail, which is short for available. If we now press enter, it will actually show us all the different software that is available here. There's quite a few. So we've got some R modules here and some MATLAB over here, MKL, Python, star CCM, and if we scroll down further, if we press the space button, we can scroll down further and see more. We've got things like Anaconda over here and many more software modules. Now I should point out that on these lines here that tell you where these modules are installed, and so this SW means software and then the module system here. And that sometimes some clusters or centers will split the different modules into different organizations or even into different software or research areas, and some will have them all in the same place, so it really depends on what facility you're using. If I scroll down a bit more, there's even more files. These are the modules for containers, singularity containers on this cluster. There's quite a lot of R specific containers available. And then here there are the bioinformatics tools are down here. And so this is how you find out about all the different software modules that might be available on a HPC cluster. So now there's quite a lot of modules, and before I go on, I want to point out one thing. So you will find that some of these have a D behind it, and that means this is a default module. And you also will find that if you look at some of these, there's two different ones with different version numbers. And so if you don't use a version number when you use these modules, it will pick the default one or the one with the highest version number or the recent version number. However, for reproducibility of your research, it is very, very important that you always use the whole module name, and that is the actual software name plus any version number that is given. Okay, so now there's a lot of modules. How do I find out in a very quick way if the software that I'm after is installed or not? And again, we can use the module command. And we can again use the avail for this, and then you can give it a specific software name. For example, if I'm now looking for VASP, for example, it then gives me all the available options, and I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different modules. If we try the same for Anaconda, for example, so we do module avail Anaconda, it will again give me all the different options, and here we can see it says that the D is the default module, which is this Anaconda version here. So this is a way of finding out what software is available on a computer cluster. Okay, so now how do you use a module, for example? And so I would now like to use the module VASP 6.2 version 6.2.1. So how do I do that? Again, we're going to start with a module command. And now I would like to load this software. And so doing module load, and then we give it the full name 6.2.1. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so what did it do? So I can now use another command called module list, and that will list all the different modules that are currently loaded. If I hit enter now, it shows me that the VASP module is loaded, but there's more. So there's an MKL module, an Intel MPI module, and an Intel module. So now where did those come from? And that is because on this particular cluster, the modules are self-contained. So if you load a module, the module will load all the dependent software that is needed to run. And how do you know what a module might do? You can actually look at it. And again, we're going to use the module command. And now I want the command to show me what the module does. So I can do show. The other option is display, for example. We'll do a similar thing. We're going to use module show and then VASP slash 6.2.1. Okay, and now it's actually telling me what the module is doing. So there's a nice comment here that sets up the environment for VASP 6.2.1 with MKL and Intel MPI, and then it gives the different commands as well that can be used. It also gives conflicts, so it conflicts with all the other VASP installations. And now here it comes, it's actually loading other modules. So it is loading the Intel MPI and it's loading Intel MKL as well. And then what it also does, it then sets up the path to the binary directory for the VASP software. And so this now should make one of these commands available. So let's try the VASP _gam and see what happens. Okay, and that's telling me that I've got access to the VASP _gam executable in the right version. So this is how software modules work. You can load them and then you can use that software, and then these modules usually set up everything you need to run that software without having to do anything else. On some clusters, this might not be the case, and then the module show command with the relevant module afterwards should then have a line somewhere in here saying this module needs or this module requires, and then should give a list of modules that you will have to load with this software module for it to be able to be used properly. Okay, now let's do our module list again. Now I've got these 4 modules loaded. How do I unload a module? You can use the module unload command, and let's just unload one of the modules. So MKL, let's unload this one. So we've got MKL and then 2018.2. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's do our unload module list again. And now we can see that the MKL module has disappeared. The unload command is good to unload specific modules. If you just want to get rid of everything, there's a much faster way to do that. And you can do a module purge, and that will unload every single module that you have loaded at the moment. So doing a module purge. And now it's complaining that the MKL was already unloaded. That's the error message about. Let's see what happens. So we do module list again. And now it's telling me that there's no modules loaded. So this is how you use software modules on HPC facilities. You use the module system to do that. Module avail gives you all the available modules. If you then give it a software name, afterwards it will then print out all the available software with that name. Module list will show all the currently loaded modules if you're not quite sure what's currently loaded. Module module load, should be able to spell load, and then the module name will load that particular software module, and module unload module name will unload a particular software module. Module purge will unload every single module that is currently loaded. And so these are your basic commands for your software modules and how to use pre-installed and cluster-wide installed software on HPC facilities.